Good morning and welcome back to Planet Doug. And as you can see behind me from the sign, I am back at Bukit Dinding, which is a very interesting, very exciting hill with a bunch of hiking trails on it here in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And I came here 1 week ago and I did one of the trails and I was so impressed with the place. I wanted to come back and do another one. And one trail in particular caught my eye, and I don't know whether I'm ready to do it today or not, but we're going to set out and give it a try. But let me give you a close-up of the map and then give you an idea of what's going on. So here is the map of Bukit Dinding, and this is put together by an organization. You can see their logo there, called the Friends of Bukit Dinding. They have a really great website about this park, about this hill, and all these hiking trails. And they're like a registered NGO, a volunteer organization that does all of this work, builds the trails, maintains them, puts signs on them, and they do a lot of work in terms of conservation, and they're trying to keep Bukit Dinding in sort of a pristine natural state and keep it in its form as it is now for future generations to enjoy. And as you can see, they have 7 marked hiking trails, and then they have 4 of these mountain biking trails. And these 2 sets of trails are quite separate. You mountain bike on these, you hike on these, and they don't overlap. And once a year, they have a big event. I think that takes place on this trail, the DH Trail, 1.7 kilometers long. And it's like a big downhill race that's organized every year. But even though there are 7 listed trails, you can sort of mix and match them. So you could combine them in different ways and come up with all kinds of different routes, which I can show you here. So here is Bukit Dinding. And where I am right now is right here. This is the Trailhead. And you can see this place on Google Maps. If you look for Bukit Dinding hiking trails, this spot pops up on Google Maps. And then there's another entrance over here. Masuk, right there, means entrance. And this is a tarmac road. As you can see, it goes up and up and up, and then goes all the way to the peak. And there are 2 large communication towers up here. So that's another entrance there. You can walk all the way up the tarmac road. But if you come in over here, you can start off on the different trails. So this orange one here, that's what I did last time. So that is the Kazumi Otai Trail, this one right here. And what I did is I followed the Kazumi Otai Trail to here. This is the Setiawangsa lookout point, and then I continued along trail number 2 to the KLCC viewpoint, and then from there I went up to the peak, and then I went down the tarmac until I could get over to trail number 5, which is this one here, Kazumi Santai, and then I followed trail number 5 back to where my starting point on the orange trail, and then I came out. So I did a loop here. But when I was here, I heard a lot of people talking about this trail, the yellow one, number 7, and that is what I'm hoping to do today. It is called the Mini-Tahan, and it is 7.2 kilometers long. You can see it's marked by 5 black boxes, and that's kind of a difficulty rating. And as you can see, none of the other trails have black boxes, only white. And the one I did, Kazumi Otai, had 4 white boxes. So now I'm jumping up to 5 black boxes. So it is a significantly more challenging, I believe. And something I learned, I didn't really pick up on this at the time, last time, is that this map has topographical lines. You can see these very faint white lines right here, and of course those are indications of elevation. So as the trail crosses a bunch of these lines, it's going up and then down and then up and down. And then if you follow the Mini-Tahan Trail, you can see it goes up, then down, then up, then down. And then over here, you go all the way down, almost to the base of the hill again. And then you climb all the way up here, then down again, then all the way up again, then down, then up, then all the way down to the base, and then all the way back up to the top again. So there's a lot of climbing involved in Mini-Tahan. So yeah, that is that is what I'm trying to do today, and we'll see how it goes. If you want to see the trails online, you can scan this QR code, and that will take you to a really nice online map. I think it's on Google Maps. A volunteer created this map on Google Maps. And yeah, visit the website, bukitdinding.com, and you can get a lot more information about this place. And I'll talk about that more as I walk along. When I was looking at the Mini-Tahan Trail, I think I counted 5 major climbs on the trail. And that got the number 5 stuck in my head. And I occasionally do something called the 5 snack challenge for one of my videos, where I go to a market and I have to try 5 new types of food that I never tried before. I call that the 5 snack challenge. And since there are 5 big climbs here, I thought I would do a sort of a scavenger hunt today to make things a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to do the 5 challenge on the Mini-Tahan Trail. So one thing I want to do is find 5 different types of flowers. The Friends of Bukit Dinding, the logo they chose is the black bat flower. And what I want to do today, I originally thought, let's just try to find a black bat flower in the wild. Like, I don't know whether they only come out a certain time of the year, whether they're all over the place, whether they're hard to find, easy to find, I don't know. But I'm going to be looking for the black bat flower. And then I thought, well, why don't we look for other flowers at the same time? So I'm going to try to find and take video of 5 different flowers. So that's one part of the 5 challenge. And I noticed when I did my last hike that there's tons of mushrooms here. So I'm also going to look for 5 different types of mushrooms. The 5 mushroom challenge and the 5 flower challenge. And I'm going to look for 5 pieces of garbage to take out. The Friends of Bukit Dinding, they organize regular trips in, like cleanup trips. People come for the day, volunteer their time to like take any garbage out of the park. And I don't think it's going to be very easy to do. I think these trails are very, very clean. But I'm going to keep my eyes open, and I'm going to try and bring 5 pieces of garbage out of Bukit Dinding. So 5 flowers, 5 mushrooms, 5 pieces of garbage. And with all that out of the way, no more dilly-dallying. Let's head into the park. One last thing before we head in. Last time I was here, I noticed these shoes. I think there were only 3 pairs last time. Now I see 4, so maybe it's becoming a tradition, or maybe I just don't remember properly. But anyway, since I talked about these shoes, they're sort of trophies of Bukit Dinding. The man who left these red Solomons behind, he left a comment on my last video. And then he says, yeah, those red shoes that you pointed out, those are mine. And he said he went on every single trail in Bukit Dinding wearing these shoes, and they eventually got completely worn out. So these are all shoes that were worn out on Bukit Dinding, and people left them behind as a trophy, which is kind of interesting. So this is the entrance to the trails here. And as I said, yeah, Kazumi Trail goes off this way to the right, and there's a nice small but very beautiful waterfall in that direction. And then off in this direction with the yellow markers, this is the Mini-Tahan Trail. So it's time to head in. Yeah, when I was here last time, the main feature of my hike was how wet it was. It had been raining heavily, and then the trails were very muddy and very slippery. And that was the defining feature. And it looks like today is going to be essentially the same. So this is the very first section, and they have a lot of ropes on these trails, which you don't always need to go up. And in fact, when I was here before, I concluded that you're better off not using the ropes when you're going up. But when you're going down on these slippery trails, then they were quite useful. So yeah, going up, I think I'll just be using my hands and feet. And then going down, I'll rely on the ropes. First, a little climb, though when I mention the 5 climbs, I don't include anything like that. That's not one of the 5 climbs. They're all much, much bigger than that. That's just a little appetizer, a little taste of what this trail is all about. Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a lot of these small climbs. There's another one right here. I haven't gone very far. And thinking back to the history of this hill, it occurs to me, like you can see, like it's a very defined step here, the next step there, and stepping all the way up and all the way down. And that's significant because this whole area used to be developed for tin mining and rubber plantations. And I was reading last night that there were actually, I thought the rubber plantations were all down on the flat land around the hill. But apparently there were rubber trees up here as well. And these ledges that have all rubber trees along these ledges. And then you can see them climbing from one step up to the next, step to the next. So that's something to look out for as well, to see some remaining rubber trees. But I don't know what rubber trees look like. I know what they look like in rubber plantations because you see the cuts in them and the containers gathering the rubber, the natural rubber. But without that, I don't know if I like, is this a rubber tree? I want to say it is, actually. It looks to me like a rubber tree. And I think if you cut into this, rubber would start to flow. But I don't know for sure. I don't exactly know what a rubber tree looks like. But no flowers yet, no mushrooms, certainly no black bat flower, and no garbage. So let's get up this little section here. Yeah, going up, that's the easy part. Going down, that's the more challenging part. Aha! Look at that. Mushrooms. Small ones, but hey, I didn't say anything about the mushrooms having to be really, really big. They just have to have different shapes. I'm looking for 5 different types of mushrooms. So, right there, you can see some mushrooms growing along this branch. And I want to remember what they look like. So that, there they are, mushrooms number 1. Yeah, I've definitely set myself up for a challenge. I was up at the top taking video of that mushroom, and then of course I started dropping camera equipment, and my lens cover went bouncing all the way down the hill, back down to the bottom. So, oops, I had to come retrieve this and then go back up the hill again. But yeah, it's so humid. My glasses are completely fogged up all the time and I can't really see anything. So, yeah, I gotta get back up to the top where I saw mushroom number 1. When I was on the Kazumi Trail last time, I commented that I didn't have to worry about spider webs across the trail because it was a Sunday and there were lots of people on the trail. I counted 25 people when I was there at the trailhead, and I think 25, 50, 100 more people came throughout the day. So there's a lot of people ahead of me, and they broke the trail, and they would have gone through all of the overnight spider webs. But I think I may be the first person to be going down the Mini-Tahan this morning. It's a Monday morning, or Tuesday, maybe Tuesday. And yeah, there won't be people here today. And it's also Ramadan now, so a lot of people who are fasting, they won't do a trail like this because, again, with their fasting, they wouldn't be allowed to drink. And then for this trail, you need to drink. And I have lots and lots of water with me, so that's fine. So another small section to climb up right here. This trail, by the way, the Mini-Tahan, aha! I say aha because challenge number 3, the 5 garbage challenge, we're off to a good start. There we have it. Oh boy, that's going to be I thought about it when I left my my hotel this morning. I forgot to bring a garbage bag to put things in. And I thought, it's not going to be important. But I mean, look at this. This is very heavy and very dirty. Would have been nice to have a garbage bag to put that in. But if I come across a stream, I'll clean that out. But garbage number 1. Somebody lost their towel for wiping off sweat and things. So yeah, there we are. Challenge number 3 underway. 5 mushroom challenge. Mushroom number 2. Yeah, I just spotted it. It's a very small one, but very delicate and very beautiful, I think. And I think very different from the one that I saw first. So there's another one there. I think it's... Yeah, that's a mushroom, right? Growing up, but I thought maybe it was a nut or something. But no, I'm pretty sure that's a fungi and a mushroom. Very beautiful. I was reading a little bit about mushrooms this morning, just so I didn't sound like a complete idiot when I embarked on the 5 mushroom challenge. And an interesting thing about mushrooms is that they are actually, if I have this straight, they are the fruit of fungi. So the way it works is that all mushrooms are fungi, but not all fungi are mushrooms. So essentially fungi are like a yeast, mold, fungus. And out here in this woods, for example, I think fungi essentially live underground. They're like big, can be huge networks of underground threads, all interconnected, that they call mycelium. So that's the fungi. And then they burrow to the surface, and then they sprout a mushroom. And the mushroom is the fruit of the fungi, when basically it's trying to spread. And then the mushroom kind of bursts and sends seeds everywhere, and that's how it propagates and spreads. But the fungi are the mycelium underground, and then the mushroom is the fruit of the mycelium, if that makes any sense. So it's sort of like if you think of a tree, like an apple tree. The tree is the mycelium, if it was all underground, and the apple of the apple tree is the mushroom, essentially. I think I have that straight. But yeah, we're about to go down again, and I'm spending a lot of time looking for flowers, looking for mushrooms. So I'm moving very, very slowly, and that might mean I may not do the entire Mini-Tahan Trail today. We'll see how it goes. I'm not the kind of person that absolutely has to, like a physical challenge, I don't have to do the entire trail. I will do the trail for as long as it's enjoyable. I don't have to do the entire... I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone that I'm physically powerful and can do the whole trail. No, I'm just out here to enjoy myself, and I'm enjoying the mushroom hunt very much. So if that slows me down, like really slows me down, I may not do the entire trail. We'll see how that goes. And the garbage challenge continues. Ooh, 2 pieces of garbage. And I don't know how that fits into my challenge. Do I count these as 2 or just 1? Because it's a cluster of garbage. There's something there. It actually looks like a camera battery. And then there's something over there, some sort of a food wrapper. So what the heck is this? Oh no, it's a Hall's. Yeah, that looked like a battery to me, but it's a Hall's candy thing, sugar free. And then, ooh, over here, what have we got? Ooh, looks like something you put into, oh, more mints, Himalayan salt, Acti Whoosh mints. And I think these count as one cluster of garbage. So garbage challenge number 2 complete. I honestly didn't expect to see garbage like this. I wouldn't think people who take this trail would throw stuff like this on the ground, but maybe it just fell out of their pocket or something. Another descent, slippery one. I think I'm going to use the rope here. Yeah. Hold on to this. And maybe kind of crab walk it down instead of going completely backwards. You can sort of see where you're going better if you're crab walking. And I also have to look for flowers. I have to look for mushrooms, fungi, and garbage. And I may have found garbage number 3. There's something over here. Not quite sure what this is. What the heck? Okay, what in the world is this? Oh man, it's heavy, whatever it is. Feels dangerous, like it's a battery of some kind, a part of a pump, a machine. How in the world did this end up here? What is it? But I don't really want to carry this for the rest of the day. It's too heavy. And it looks like it could burst into flames. But yeah, it's a challenge. If it was easy, it wouldn't be a challenge. So this is the 5 garbage challenge. I guess this is going into my knapsack. Well, luckily I have a rag that I can clean it off with. Hey. Was not expecting anything like this. Yeah, it makes me wonder whether it was some part of trail maintenance device, like operating a camera for wildlife, or there's some serial numbers on it, some product numbers. Oh, it's a battery, yeah, 6 volt battery. Probably for a big flashlight. Like, you know, those big camping flashlights with the handle on them. Yeah, it's a 6 volt battery, that's what it is. But yeah, well, let's get this out of here. And yeah. Now I really need that plastic bag. Where am I going to put this beast? Yeah, I guess I'll put it on the outside of my bag there. And I'll find somewhere to put this. I took off my pant leg from my shorts and give my knees. I think I'm just going to wrap this up in my pant leg. I can wash all of this together later on. All right. Garbage number 3. Yeah, the rag, the snacks, and then a 6-volt battery. What the heck? Ooh. Wow, okay, here's a, oh, look at that. That's absolutely gorgeous. Looks like a beautiful little natural scene. Yeah, deadfall, I guess you call that. Trees that fell across the trail. Huh. Oh, I just ran into a spider web, another one. I've run into all kinds of them already. Luckily, no giant spiders in the webs so far. Yeah, I gotta get around this rubber strap that's on there pretty tightly. Man, yeah, look at that. That is Mini-Tahan. Now I know what people are talking about. This is no joke. These aren't even the big climbs. These are the small ones. So yeah, I think I might end up dividing this trail into small chunks. I'll do a chunk of it today and the rest on another day perhaps, when I'm not doing so many challenges to slow me down. But yeah, I think if you want to do this trail in its entirety, I think you want to be moving and you don't want to be encumbered with camera gear and too much other stuff. But yeah, look at that going down. The adventure continues. The garbage challenge, number 4, though I don't know if you'd really call this garbage, but it's not supposed to be here. It's not natural. It looks like it's some sort of a mechanism for putting in a stick or like a post, like maybe to put in like a sign for the trails or something. But yeah, it's a plastic pipe with sort of a red seal on the top covered in mud. So that's garbage number 4, I think. I got to get all the mud off of that. And while I was here doing it, check this out. Another omen. The lens in my glasses popped out. These are the reading glasses that I have around my neck. And I must have hit them at some point on this climb already. And the lens just popped right out. So if I needed another sign that today is not the day to do the entire Mini-Tahan Trail, I think this is another sign. Well, now that I can only see out of one eye occasionally, let's continue down. Crab walking and going backwards. Whoa, man. I'm waiting for, it's like a bit of a Jenga pile. I feel like if I touch something in the wrong way, it's going to, something's going to come crashing down. Whoa, man. Ooh. Mushroom challenge number 3. I think this is totally different from the other ones. Similar because it's growing on a tree, but it's much more developed. It's like fanned out into a beautiful flowery petal pattern. Continuing down. Actually, yeah, they made Mini-Tahan even more challenging because I noticed there's no knots in this rope. So you got to hold on with your hands. There's no knots to grip. Just stunningly beautiful though, this whole scene in front of me. Whew. Oh. And then down at the bottom. Yeah, it's funny, we're pretty much right down back at the road. So a little bit more downhill here, and there's a stream, and then we're right at the road again. So this Mini-Tahan Trail basically goes up the side of the hill to the top, then all the way down to the road, all the way back up to the top, and then down to the road again. 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, I don't know. Yeah, very interesting trail, very challenging. Down at the water's edge by the stream that I pointed out. Can't really see it, but that's the descent I just did, where I found mushroom number 3. And I'm gonna stop here for a bit, wash out the rag that I found, get some of the mud out of that. Yeah, look at this. Beautiful little stream heading in that direction. And there's civilization, like there's an apartment building right there. So as I pointed out, we're right down. This is the same level as the beginning of the trail. So this is not a trail that you take to get anywhere. If all you wanted to do was get to the peak, well, then you would take the Kazumi Otai Trail and KLCC, and then that trail kind of goes to the peak. This trail doesn't exactly go anywhere. It's here. I think I started to say that people use it for mountaineering training, like they're preparing to climb a bigger mountain to actually get to the peak, or they're going to, any of the big mountains. So I guess you use this trail as sort of a practice run, because look at this, over on this side. I said there's probably 5 big climbs. This might be one of them. It looks like it just goes all the way to the top. Oh, and here I can wash out the rag that I found. It's not really a rag, somebody's towel. Clean it up a little bit and get some of the mud out of it. Whew. Oh. Yeah, it's absolutely caked in mud. I wonder how long it's been out here. Yeah. Mud is still coming out. I'm not having any luck with flowers. Over there, I see more garbage, which makes sense. People would take a rest here and have a snack or something, and they accidentally leave some garbage behind. I think that's garbage number 5, maybe. I can't keep track. Mushroom number 3, I think. And this would be garbage number 4. But no flowers. Certainly no bat wing flower. I'd love to see a bat wing flower at least. It's kind of the symbol of Bukit Dinding. There we go. Just about good enough. Whew, here we are. If anyone out there in the Friends of Bukit Dinding recognizes this and the owner wants it back, yeah, just get in touch. Could be an important souvenir. They may have taken this towel on many mountain climbs in their lifetime. Oh man, things are getting muddy. My knapsack, and over here, as I said, there's like a pile of garbage over here, so let's go get that cleaned up. Well, not a pile, I spotted this over here. Oh man, some sort of a snack. And I spotted this over here, another bright color. Some cookies, some biscuits, something like that, or some handy wipes maybe. Since I don't have, I can't read anymore without my reading glasses. But yeah, I have one eye left, kind of muddy and foggy. Let's see if I can read. Nippus. I have no idea what those are. Some seafood snacks, so I gotta rinse these off as well. Dried seafood. And this one, Girlfriend's Slim Wing something. I'm assuming they're eating it, whatever it is. I'm assuming it's like biscuits or crackers, but I don't know. So, as I said, garbage number 4. I think if I went scouring, I'd find more, but yeah, while I'm here, I can clean off my my glasses as well. The lens. Oh man. There's a little waterfall over there too that I can check out. There we go. I can sort of see again. Oh. And since this is turning into more of a nature hike than a hike, thought I'd point out something else here, the bamboo. I always love bamboo. I noticed this big piece of bamboo. Look at that. And where there's one piece of bamboo, there's going to be more. And of course, it came from this cluster. And the way I understand it, this is actually one plant sharing one root structure. And then all these are sort of part of the same bamboo plant. But yeah, bamboo is amazing stuff. And I mentioned there was the little waterfall over here. Yeah, beautiful little spot. And I just happened to catch out of the corner of my eye another little piece of garbage. So that's actually garbage number, oh boy. It's actually a package of serviettes, like napkins, hand towels. But of course, they're absolutely soaked through, so they weigh like 10 pounds. Not really, but you know what I mean. It's soaked with water, so they're pretty heavy. But hey, it is the garbage challenge. It's not the garbage free and easy and that sort of thing. Squeeze out all the water. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, technically that's the end of the garbage challenge, right? Garbage number 5. If I happen to see something big out of the corner of my eye, I'll grab it as well, but I'm not going to be making a point of it anymore. Yeah, I need my flowers. Where are my flowers? I have looked around and just sort of keeping my eyes open, but I haven't come across one yet. Very exciting news. I was just here admiring the waterfall. You can hear it, I'm sure. Let me spin the GoPro around and show you where I am. So here's the little waterfall. I've just been hanging out here, enjoying the scene. I love the little pool up top there, and then it comes down to another pool down here. And then, of course, it flows down towards where I was cleaning out all the garbage and the rag. But while I was standing here, by absolute chance, I think I spotted a batwing flower right there, middle of my GoPro screen. I'll climb up and get a bit of a closer look, but I think that is a batwing right there. Getting a bit closer. It's hard to do. The position of the batwing. But there it is. I'm pretty sure the long tendrils, the shape of the petals, the coloring doesn't look exactly like what I've seen in pictures, but I think it must change color a little bit. But there's the symbol of Bukit Dinding, the batwing flower, I'm pretty sure. Right beside this beautiful waterfall. Can't ask for a nicer than that. I'm still here with the batwing flower and the waterfall, as you can hear. And I wasn't even thinking about it at all. And I just happened to be looking around and just sort of taking in the scene. And my eyes went over something, and then I moved on to something else, and then I went back. Another flower. Flower number 2, very small, but very beautiful. Right here on this tree, this little branch. Little cluster of flowers there, and then another cluster up there. Yeah, flowers number 2 on the 5-flower challenge. And Doug the naturalist is discovering more and more things right here. I'm still at the waterfall and the batwing flower and these tiny little blossoms on the branch. And I noticed another fungus. I wouldn't exactly call it a mushroom, but it's definitely part of the fungi family. You see these growing up trees all over the place here. And again, I'm pretty sure it's some kind of a fungus, a fungi. So I don't know, how many is that? Fungi 3 or 4 on the 5 fungi challenge. And there's the batwing flower, right here beside the waterfall. And from right here, I guess I will continue up the trail. I'm not sure how high it goes. Could go all the way to the top, or it could stop right there where the ropes end. I'm not sure. So let's start doing a bit of climbing. All right, up we go. Yeah, it goes up quite a distance and straight up. I'm passing by some more garbage on the trail. There's a plastic bag there, but I don't want to stop in the middle of this climb to get it. And I'm not here to pick up every piece of garbage on the trail. I honestly didn't think there'd be so many individual pieces. I thought it would take a lot longer to get to the 5 garbage challenge. Yeah, from here, the trail does a little bit of a switchback. Still climbing up, zigzagging back and forth. Bit of a giant step there. And then from here at the top, the trail flattens out a little bit. Still not exactly an easy stroll. Look at this here. This tree got split. A lot of trees falling across the trail. I wonder which one is going to be next. Yeah, it's a real maze getting over these trees. Look at that. Yeah, I've seen this on other trees where the leaves are like flattened against the tree trunk of vine. It's beautiful. It's like almost like an engraving. That's the acrobatic way of getting around a tree like that. And here's something new, a ladder. I associate that with the Khumbu icefall on the Everest climb, where they put ladders like that across the gorges in the glacier, in the ice. And without Sherpas going ahead of them and putting these ladders and ropes in place, I don't think many of the Western climbers, the ones who pay to climb Everest, I don't think very many of them could do it. Yeah, like how could you? You have to wait until these ladders are in place. Because I think every year they have to be rebuilt because the ice moves. You can't leave them there. They'd all be destroyed. And then every year they have to go back, find the new places to put the ladders, and then people can get across. Otherwise, yeah, there'd be no chance. And check this out. That is one giant tree. Man, oh man, oh man. Hello there. It almost feels like it could talk, you know? The Ents from Lord of the Rings. Feels like it could just wake up and start talking. Wow, what a tree that is. Couldn't tell you what kind it is or how old it is. And I think this is going to be a rope crab walk descent. Yeah, this rope is dry for some reason. Feels dry anyway. Now you can safely say that I'm the only person on the Mini-Tahan Trail this morning. Anyone else coming up on the trail behind me, they would have caught up with me by now and passed me, but there's been nobody at all, so I don't think anybody else has entered the trail this morning. Another little ravine here. The water would flow down here and is kind of bringing the hillside down with it. Right here, the trail does a bit of a U-turn and starts going back up again. I get under a couple of trees. There's a drainage ditch here, and the trail goes up. Here's an interesting little climb. You can go around the tree that way, or you can go this way. I'm going to do this way. You better be careful here. We've got a big piece of rebar sticking out of the ground. You don't want to fall on top of that. There we go. And then from here, trail keeps going up. I might have found another mushroom. I can't remember if I've seen this type already, but I don't think I have. I think the coloring and the shape are a bit different from everything I've seen up until now, but mushroom challenge number 4, I think. Yeah, I gotta write these things down. But here, have I seen these ones? Yeah, I think this was the very first one that I saw, isn't it? Yeah, I saw one exactly like this, I think. But I haven't seen like a grouping like this. And there's another one there. The one thing I think about with these, though, the ones that are growing on branches, because I was talking about how the mycelium lives underground, the long threads, and then they reach the surface, and that's where the mushrooms sprout. But these are sprouting on trees. So is the mycelium inside the wood? Is that how that works? I don't know. Again, I don't know if these are new mushrooms or the same ones, but later on in their life cycle. It could be some competing mushrooms. That's what I'm going with, because I came across this fallen tree, and then you've got these ones here. I think they're new, very hard. This one and this one. And then over here, I think these are the ones we've seen. But then all around it are these larger, much darker ones. If you look all along that piece of wood way down at the end there, you see some really big ones. Like right here. Could be the same ones, they just grew bigger and darker, but I don't know. Like, you can see the difference here. The ones on the left I've already seen, but maybe that one on the right is maybe a different one, or this is a different one. And then here you can see that they're darker, but maybe they've just reached the end of their life cycle here. But these ones do seem different. These hard white shells. I think that's a new one, so I'm gonna count that one. Mushroom challenge, perhaps number 4. I've already completed the garbage challenge with 5 at least, but come on, I can't ignore this one. I spotted it out of the corner of my eye. Bright blue can of something. Relive. So yeah, there's more garbage down there, but oh, look at this. Flower petals all over the place. Yeah. Flower petals have fallen off. I think these are the same flowers that I already saw though from the trees. But yeah, since I'm not seeing that many flowers, I can make up for it by going above and beyond with the garbage challenge. We got a can here and a bottle. I don't really have room in my backpack for any of this, but like I said, I have to make up for my failure in terms of flowers and mushrooms. One thing about an experience like this is it sure puts wear and tear on your camera gear, even your GoPros, and on your body. One thing I never noticed on the Kazumi Trail, I never noticed mosquitoes. And I wore long pants on that hike because people said there's a lot of mosquitoes on the trail, and so that's why I wore long pants. And I didn't really notice any. And today I took the pant legs off, so I am sort of wearing shorts, but I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes today. Well, I don't know if I'm being eaten so much as they're flying around in big flocks of mosquitoes all around my legs all the time. And occasionally I feel something. I keep thinking, oh, that must be a bite. But I don't know for sure that they're biting me, but they're certainly flying around me. Big swarms of them. Not flocks. Mosquitoes don't come in flocks. They come in swarms. So, yeah, still walking along. And yeah, it's pretty obvious I'm not going to do the whole trail today. I'm moving so slowly, there's just no way. I'll be lucky to get halfway. So I'm going to follow the trail as far as it goes to the north, and then the trail goes all the way down to the road and meets up with a mountain biking trail, and there's another kind of entrance there, and that's where I'm going to duck out, I think, just halfway. And there are a couple more fairly big climbs and descents up ahead. There's one called, according to Google Maps, it's called the Rubber Tapper Ascent, because of rubber trees and tapping the rubber trees. On Google Maps, it's marked. So I'm looking forward to that, and then maybe a couple others. But then once we come down to the road, I think that's going to be the end of my first experience of the Mini-Tahan. I think half of it is a nice compromise for today, just so that we can go this slowly. And I have a smartphone running, by the way. It's recording my route on Relive. And this Relive route is not going to be very impressive because I'm going such a short distance. But it produces like a 3D graphic map of this hike. And that's going to show up on the Planet Doug Patreon as sort of a bonus video. So if you're interested in that and maybe some other bonus videos from Bukit Dinding, yeah, check out the Planet Doug Patreon. Yeah, patreon.com, and type in Planet Doug in the search bar. It'll pop up. Or download the app. That's the best way to do it. Get the Patreon app, open an account, and then, yeah, go look for the Planet Doug Patreon. You'll find me there. Yeah. As you can see, I'm moving very, very slowly. And cameras are also inherently somewhat dangerous on a trail like this. I fell once back there when I was trying to get close to the mushrooms. I slipped and I fell. And normally it wouldn't be a very big deal. But of course, my instinct is to protect the camera. So my body paid the price. I hugged all my cameras to keep them safe, and then my body, right on my hip, slammed into the tree, And yeah, I'm gonna have a big bruise on my hip, I can tell you that. But yeah. So we've entered sort of a more open area. We're still going up and down, but it's not quite as rugged, which is why I'm talking a little bit on camera. Yeah, and I don't think I said very much about Bukit Dinding. In my first video, I talked a little bit about the history and describing it a bit more. But yeah, just off the top of my head, what do I remember? It's like Bukit Dinding is about 300 acres total. And the highest point, the peak, is 291 meters. And as I said, this whole area started off just as Kuala Lumpur did, as a tin mining region, and then rubber plantations. And yeah, there was a very large rubber plantation called the Hawthornden Rubber Estate. I don't know which one was actually on the slopes of Bukit Dinding, but I'm beginning to understand that the rubber plantation wasn't only down on the flat areas, it was actually on the sides of the hill too. And then at one point the government bought the land from all of the private owners, and then they leased it to developers, which is why you see all of these huge apartment complexes all the way around. If you go all the way up to Google Maps satellite view, oh, look at this before I go on. You can see people slide down there with their shoes and their, yeah, very, very slippery right there. So you got to hold on to something as you go down here. Yeah, it's like a cliff, clay cliff right there. You can see all the marks, people sliding down. Yeah, there's the trail I've been going down. And I assume once we get all the way to the bottom here, then we start climbing the rubber tapper ascent. And there's supposed to be something called the Wild Dog Rest spot up ahead somewhere, but I don't know if it's marked or not. Yeah, I was saying that the government then leased all the rubber estate land to developers, and they built all these apartment complexes. But they were not building here on Bukit Dinding itself, as you can see. And then all of this jungle started to grow back. So this is secondary growth. In this area, as I said, it's connected with tin mining, and that's how Kuala Lumpur itself began. You know, Kuala Lumpur began originally as a tin mining settlement, and then it grew into the mega city that it is today. And there's tin mining here. So yeah, Bukit Dinding is part of the history of this area. And there was even a battle here. The Battle of Bukit Dinding was part of the Klang Civil War, or the Selangor Civil War. So a big battle took place here on Bukit Dinding. And it's even part of popular culture because 2 movies were shot here. One, a Hollywood film, back in 1964, was called The Seventh Dawn, starring William Holden, and directed, I think, by Lewis Gilbert, if I have that name right. And it was connected with the rubber plantations. They show up in the movie, I believe, but all the events of the story were taking place in the emergency, which is a very big part of Malaysian history, which was like a communist insurgency. And then there's a fight against the communist insurgency, which they called here the emergency. And fighting took place around Bukit Dinding, as it did all over Malaysia, in the jungles in particular. And the movie, The Seventh Dawn, is set in the events of the emergency. And then there was another famous movie, I think it was in 1968, a P. Romley movie. It was also shot here at Bukit Dinding. I think it was actually shot in the Hawthornden Rubber Estate. And then the star of the movie, of course, was P. Romley, and he was playing an owner, manager, I think an owner of the rubber plantation. So yeah, a lot going on here at Bukit Dinding, which is one of the reasons I decided to come out here, because it had so many connections to Malaysian history, Malaysian culture, and stuff like that. So yeah, we're down here and now we're climbing. This could be, I'm gonna have to check Google Maps. This could be the Rubber Tapper Ascent, though I may not have reached it yet. I'm still far, far away from even where I want to go. I'm moving so slowly. I better pick up some speed. So I just checked on Google Maps, and this is the Rubber Tapper Ascent. And I think we go up, then across to the Wild Dog rest stop, and then down again, and then back up, and then, oh, right over here, 2 black bat flowers. They look beautiful. They look like they're in full bloom. I'm gonna have to head over there and get a little bit of video of that. They look bright red. Ah, nice. Yeah, beautiful flowers. They have like red petals, but with like a black edging. I can see why they're called the black bat flowers. Really beautiful. So I'm gonna have to climb in here a little bit and fiddle around to try to get some video of these. They look like really nice, like full bloom specimens. Turns out it was easier to approach them coming up the riverbed straight up through the gorge here. So I'm sort of here. Hopefully there's no flash flood. And yeah, get a beautiful view of the flowers right from below here. Yeah, you can see they're red petals, but with a black tone to them. And the bat wings. Looks very much like Batman, right? Even the ears and the wings. Very much like a bat. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. And while I've been here checking out the black bat flowers, I think I noticed new flowers down here right at my knees. Gotta curl aside some of these leaves and look at that. I don't know whether they're the same as the ones I've already seen, but yeah, they might be different. So maybe these are flower challenge number 3 or 4. We're slowly making progress maybe, but even if we don't have the numbers, we definitely have our black bat flowers. So I'm really happy about that. And a cool thing about stopping to look for mushrooms and flowers, you start noticing all of the plant life, like little gems like this, very beautiful. And of course you start to see all of the insects, all of the beetles, flying bugs, all kinds of things. But yeah, this is where I had to climb up through the river bed, the stream bed, in order to see these flowers. But now, yeah, it's time to get back on the rubber tapper ascent and start climbing back up to the top. So far, the rubber tapper ascent is not that challenging. It's a little bit more gradual than the other ones, but never speak too soon. Yeah, there's no ropes on this section of the trail. You don't need them. I'm still thinking about the rubber plantations and the rubber trees, and this has to be a rubber tree. I thought about it at first because you can see these angular gouges in it. So when the tree was much, much smaller, when this was still part of a rubber plantation, they would have been cutting a gouge in a spiral around the tree, and you can see the scarring left behind in the trunk. And if you look up and down, you can see more of that scarring. And then down here at the bottom, there's something leaking out of the tree. It's black, so it's not like the white rubber liquid that you see in a rubber plantation, but it's definitely rubber. I can feel it. It's very soft and bouncy, just like rubber. So this must be rubber sap coming out of the tree, and then it turned black from exposure to the air and the elements. But yeah, there's a giant rubber tree right there. Has to be. So I got to the top of the rubber tapper ascent, and the trail went along somewhat flat for a while. But yeah, it's quite beautiful. But yeah, there's the trail ahead of me, just goes down again. And it's going to go right back up again. I guess there's a ravine here, and in order to cross the ravine, I guess we're going down to a convenient point, crossing the next ravine. So I guess crossing it up higher just wasn't convenient or possible. Still looking for new mushrooms. I know that there are other types here, like completely different shapes, full mushrooms, but I haven't seen any of them, and I don't know where to look to find them. And then with flowers as well, there's a lot of greenery, but in the strict sense of the word, you know, like colorful flowers, I've only seen pretty much 2, I think, maybe 3 different types, but I'm okay with that because the black bat flower is so dramatic, and there are so many of them. I didn't realize that they would be so common up here, but yeah, you see them all over the place. But not all of them are in full bloom, so you have to keep your eyes open for one that is in full bloom with really bright red coloring with black overtones. It's really nice. Still going down, down, down after the rubber tapper ascent. I just fired up the GoPro again because there's such a dramatic tree right here. Look at the size of this thing, the scale of it. All the vines on it. Big tree right beside me. It's a good thing I stopped to admire this tree because I think I discovered a new variety of mushroom to add to the mushroom challenge. I think it's new. Check this out. As I said, I knew there were mushrooms here that had a distinct, different shape. So these have that bowl shape, almost like if they were larger, you could pour in some cereal and milk and eat out of them. Got a perfect little bowl. Very nice. And right beside it are some of the other mushrooms that we've already seen. These big, dark red, black ones. They're all over this rotting log. And then you see these little cone ones with the bowl hidden inside the cracks here and there, like that. Oh yeah, and there's some more of them over here. Some little ones. And I don't know if these mushrooms are new, but there's a whole cluster of mushrooms up here. Yeah, I think they're a new variety as well, right? And then beyond them, we get back to more of these bowls. Here's a really nice one, really large one. Really shows you the shape. Yeah, and they continue all the way up this rotting log. All the way down. Oh, there's some more right there. Very nice. Down at the next ravine, little ravine down at the stream. That's where I thought the trail would go. And then from here we cross over and then we start climbing back up again. And at this point, despite how long I've been on the trail, I'm actually only 1/4, I think, of the length of the whole trail. So I said, I think I'm only going to do half the trail today, but I've only done so far 1/2 of the half that I wanted to do. So yeah, very, very slow, but that's okay. Slow-moving naturalist that I am played in my favor again, because I happened to be looking down and I think these are completely different mushrooms. These are sort of closer to what we think of as mushrooms you might buy in the grocery store and chop up and put into your lasagna or spaghetti sauce or whatever. Yeah, I think these are completely different from any of the other mushrooms that we've seen so far. And I'm slowly learning how you find mushrooms, because they tend to grow on old rotting wood, which is obvious, pretty obvious, but it took me a while to make that connection. So if I'm walking along and I see a big tree that fell over many years ago and is now rotting, that's where you're going to find a lot of different types of mushrooms. This one is not like that. It's completely different. This isn't a dead tree, but yeah, we still have a different type of mushroom growing out of the base. So I think I've done well on 2 of the challenges so far. I've lost count, but I've definitely completed the garbage challenge. And then the mushroom challenge seems to be going well. The flower challenge, I think I'm still at 2, maybe 3, so haven't completed that yet. So I'm keeping my eyes open, but I guess it's not really that kind of a rainforest. I was considering a fourth challenge, and now I'm glad I didn't do it. I was going to do a people challenge where I had to talk to 5 other hikers on camera, and that would have been impossible because so far I haven't seen anybody, not one single person. So there's been nobody I could talk to on or off camera. So the people challenge definitely would not have been successful. So I guess I could continue with the garbage challenge, but that's too big for me to carry. I don't have enough room for that in my backpack. I've run out of space. Could be just the weather, but as I said, I'm definitely coming across a lot more insects on this trail than I did on the Kazumi Otai trail. Flies buzzing around my ears, mosquitoes, a lot of things landing on me. I don't remember that from the other trails at all, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention, and I'm going a lot slower on this trail than I did on the other ones too. These vines are very handy. The vines and the roots for getting up these inclines. Flowers, mushrooms. I don't see any. Flattening out a bit here. Nice wide trail for a little while. Treasure. Treasure for the mushroom hunter and the mushroom challenge. Look at this. Pretty sure that is a brand new species of mushroom that I haven't seen on the trail yet. Very cool. Yeah, it's just growing right up out of the ground there. Circular brown and white spots. The bugs really like them at a certain stage. I guess they attract them, and perhaps the bugs have a part in spreading the spores to make new fungi somewhere else. Yeah, of course I can't help on the mushroom challenge thinking about The Last of Us, the video game and the TV show. Pretty scary stuff when you think about the fungus taking over your brain. Oh, and over here, right beside it, is a whole bunch more. Different, like same shape, slightly different coloring to some of the others that I've seen, perhaps. There's no debate about how rugged this hill is, that's for sure. As I said, I've walked a very short distance, but I've had to go over so many ravines. And here's another one. Look at that. The trail came down to this point, and then it goes down into another stream bed, river bed through the ravine, and then a very steep climb up there on the other side. So yeah, if you stripped away all of the growth, all of the jungle, and you could see just the rock underneath, it would be a very rough jagged edge, you know, just like going to a peak, and then a gorge here, and another one cutting through here, and another one there, and another one, and another one. Yeah, it's quite the place, Bukit Dinding. Yeah, this is a beautiful spot too. Go down to the little stream there, and then back up the other side. And down we go. Heard something big up there that sounded heavy enough to be a macaque. I haven't seen any on this side of the hill, but there have to be macaques here somewhere. And I heard something pretty big moving through the trees up there. Whew. Yeah, good thing there's an exposed root network there. You need something to hold on to climb up the other side. Nice and slow. Now, up here we go. There we go. And that's pretty much the top. Here's the tree that gives us the roots. And there's the other side. Very cool. Nice wide path here for a little while. Yeah, we're surprisingly high though. I can look down on my left into some houses, a housing complex, but yeah, we're quite a ways up above it. Looks like another ravine up ahead. They're so packed together, these ravines. Yeah, right here. It's got a big tree. Fell over right in the middle of this one. Very thoughtful rope placement right here for getting down here and then across there. It's a relatively fresh deadfall here. No mushrooms growing on it just yet. There will be though. Just give it some time. Ooh. Under and underneath. The trail seems to be steadily angling downwards. I don't think there, in terms of doing the section of the trail that I'm going to be doing, I don't think there are any more big climbs. I've got little ones like this one right up ahead, but I don't think we're going back up to the top or anywhere near the top again. And I was taking a closer look at the map, and to be honest, in terms of where I'm going to be exiting, if you take into account the whole trail and then completing the loop back to the beginning, I think what I've done here today is going to be about a third, maybe a third of the total length. So that can give you some idea of what to expect on this trail. If you start the trail intending to do the entire thing, yeah, you're because this, I think this part that I've done so far, I think it's the easy part. Just judging from the topographical lines, I think from this point onward, you really go all the way to the top, and all the way back down to the bottom, then all the way to the top, and all the way to the bottom again. Yeah, I was losing the trail here for a minute, but it looks like we are going up a little bit. I finally found the yellow arrows up here. I was trying to continue in this direction. That's where the trail seemed like it wanted to go, but I'm being guided this way by the Friends of Bukit Dinding and their helpful arrows. Yeah, up this way. But yeah, I was just saying that the full circuit of this trail all the way back to the beginning, it would be take some hard work on your part as a hiker, so I wouldn't undertake it lightly. But a good thing about the trail, at least I hope it's a possibility, I'm pretty sure it is, that you can exit part way along, which is what I plan on doing. So just up ahead here, we should be going down to the road and meeting up with a mountain bike trail, and at that point I can exit from the trail if I want to, or continue on. But I'm pretty sure I'll be bowing out at that point. Seen the mushrooms, haven't seen all the flowers, but I don't think there are that many flowers up here. Or so far I just don't know where to look. Of course, I still have to walk back to the MRT station, or LRT station, I should say. Sri Rampai station, I think, is the closest. At least that's where I went today. If you wanted to go to the trailhead where I started from this morning, the closest public transport, at least by LRT, is Sri Rampai station on the Kelana Jaya line, which is very easy to do. Just get out at Sri Rampai and ask in Google Maps how you get to the trailhead for Bukit Dinding, and it's like 1.5 kilometers from the LRT station. No trouble at all. As I said, there is another entrance on the other side, the tarmac road, that goes all the way up to the antenna towers at the peak. And I don't know what the closest LRT station is there. There's another one on that side, I think Setiawangsa out in that direction, but I don't know which one is closest, Sri Rampai or Setiawangsa. All right. This is me, almost at the end of the trail. Here they have some signs pointing the way to Mini-Tahan, and then they have an emergency exit noted here. So to Mini-Tahan, and it's also an emergency exit. You can see they have it marked. And they have to put a lot of signs here because right beside it, it looks like that's the trail, right? But that is a mountain biking trail. Very difficult looking trail for mountain biking, but yeah. So this would be a mountain biking trail. You don't go hiking on that. The Mini-Tahan goes down in this direction, crosses over the mountain biking trail at the bottom, and then starts to climb all the way up and then down and up and then down and then up and then down and then up again. So I'm heading this way. But the challenges of the trail don't let up. We're almost at the end, and we still have sections like this. You have to have a good spring in your step, but you also have to be flexible because you're constantly bending over to go through these barriers. You're threading your way through the jungle. Yeah, look at this down here. Oh yeah, we're right beside the mountain biking trail. It's right here. You see those sandbags or cement bags there? That's the mountain biking trail. And the hiking trail goes down here. And another sign telling you it's the emergency exit. Yeah, so under we go. Yeah, like look at this barrier here. Pretty hard to go over, so gotta go underneath again. Looks like the second one you can climb over, so just scoot underneath one of them, climb over the second one. Yeah, looks like somebody set this one on fire. It's all not burned on the outside. And a rope here, which is very much appreciated. And not a lot of roots and branches and vines to grab hold of here, so unless you are going to like butt scoot down this part, you're probably going to use the rope. Call to prayer from all the neighboring mosques. I think I hear 3 different ones. And here we are at the bottom. Whew. Still following the signs for the Mini-Tahan Trail and the emergency exit. Looks like this tree used to be standing up. Fell over. And what I have to do is follow the roads. You can hear the traffic now, maybe, or see it. There's some traffic down there. So I have to get onto this road and walk back towards the trailhead where I started. I think we're getting close to the emergency exit. We're right beside the road here. And in fact, there's a little trail right here that cuts off to the left, goes down to the fence, sidewalk, and then the road. But I don't think that's the official exit. I think they would have a sign to mark it. So I just continue along and see where we go. Whew. Yeah. Starting to climb back up again, and I'm thinking, ooh, maybe that was the emergency exit. But I don't think so. I think they would have it well marked. Keeping my eye on my feet while keeping the GoPro pointed forward. I don't want to trip on the last 100 meters. Oh, I think that's the mountain biking trail right there. Here with the yellow marker, Mini-Tahan. I think, yeah, we're still on the right path. Oh, yeah. Another barrier right at the very end. Okay, it does have the emergency exit. 50 meters with a smiley face to Mini-Tahan. Oh God, look at that. That is crazy. For being right inside a mega city like Kuala Lumpur, and to have a wild trail like this is so, it's like a privilege in a way. It is so cool. All right, over or under? I'm gonna try over. I've got pretty long legs. There we are. If you have shorter legs, I guess you're going under. There we go. And even for my long legs, with this acting as a barrier, that wasn't so easy. Another sign, Mini-Tahan, emergency exit. Oh, this looks like it. I think we're almost there. I think I see an opening going right to the fence. Mini-Tahan, smiley face, emergency exit. And here we are, the two arrows pointing in different directions. Mini-Tahan going straight ahead, emergency exit to the left. Right there, okay, excellent. There's a fence and a gate. I mean, there's a gate through the fence. I'm assuming it's not locked. So, right here, oh, let me sit on this log for a second. Oh, if you only wanted to do that 1/3 of the trail, that's what you would do. Start at the trailhead, come here, emergency exit. If you wanted to do the next third or 2/3, you could come here to this gate, enter at this point, and start your hike right here. And you're going to go straight up, straight down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So that's where you would go. Very cool. Let's go check out this gate. See whether you need any kind of a password or a key or a combination lock to get out. I doubt it. Yeah, I'm very glad that they had the emergency exit signs going all the way to the end. I like to see that. And here we are. Oh yeah, just held in place by a wire. Swing open the gate. And there you are. The emergency exit, or another entrance to Mini-Tahan. And now what I have to do is walk along the road here, this busy one, and then I cut in on a small road, and I'm going to go back to the trailhead. And when I get to the trailhead, there's a waterfall there. I'm going to go to the waterfall just to wash my sandals. You can see my sandals and feet are a little bit muddy. Not too bad, but since I'm going to go back into the LRT system, I just want to get cleaned up, get all the mud off my legs. So let's head to the waterfall. I don't really know where I am in terms of a big landmark for the exit here, or the entrance, but you've got a big brown house there. Some sort of an academy over there, that blue building. And then looking off in this direction, you can see that large white cliff over there. That's a very famous hiking area as well. But a lot of people have been telling me that the main trail that follows the cliff, that follows the ridge, it's closed now. They've had a lot of fatalities on that trail. Look at that. Man, you want to go hiking? Probably no end of hiking off in that direction. The Titiwangsa Mountains looks very rugged over there. Whew. But this is where I'm going. The flower challenge lives on. Look at that. A banana tree flower. Ah, very cool. Hard to believe that that's going to turn into a huge bunch of bananas, but eventually it will, assuming I have it right, and that's actually a banana tree flower. I think it is. So I'm just walking through the residential neighborhood. You can see the minarets of the mosque right there behind me. And it is Ramadan now, so I think mosques are a little bit busier than normal, but the afternoon prayers just ended. People are leaving. But what I noticed is I'm walking along on the outskirts of Bukit Dinding. So the trail I was on, the Mini-Tahan, was up here. So basically I was walking along this ridge, or part way up this ridge, and then going all the way around and then down again. But yeah, you can see just how steep it is, right from ground level, and then straight up. And yeah, I have to head this way to get back to the trailhead. And I think I'm up to 4 flowers on the 5-flower challenge. What do you think? Do any of these qualify? Technically, no. But hey, they are flowers. And I'm not on the trail anymore. But I am sort of still on the hike. I'm just completing the loop back to the beginning, going through some streets. And for me, as a foreign visitor, of course, this neighborhood is every bit as interesting as the trail. just to see a residential district in Malaysia. Big school over there. And these are the traditional style of houses in Malaysia. Quite like them. People keep telling me what they're called. I think of them like as row houses. They have another name for them here, but I always forget what they're called. But yeah, beautiful neighborhood. A lot of the property is very well cared for. Some landscaping and flowers, and towering above this row of houses, Bukit Dinding. Look at that. Very dramatic. And again, you can see just how steep that hillside is. You don't mess around in there. Construction crew working hard. I just walked by that construction crew. They're cutting a channel across the road. Man, I would not be operating that machinery without ear protection. That was so deafening. I felt like I lost half my hearing just because I walked by those guys. If you're standing operating that machine for an hour or two, yeah, I definitely want some ear protection. Here's the edge of Bukit Dinding again. It's right beside the residential area, the suburb. Yeah, a lot of these areas have controlled access. Normally there's a security guard on staff. I haven't seen anybody in the booths, but these seem to be automated. And for anyone to drive a vehicle through here, they have, there is a guard in that one. I think if I was like walking in, he would stop me and ask me, who are you going to visit? Yeah. I ran into that a lot when I was riding my bike around Kuala Lumpur. When I first got here, I was just exploring on my bicycle, and I was turned away at a lot of streets because they had gates like that, and yeah, the guards wouldn't let me through. So you had to stay on the main roads. You couldn't go into the residential areas. It's one of the many reasons I stopped riding my bike. So we're almost back at the trailhead. That's it. Just up ahead there, you can see the sign. And then we're gonna go in to the waterfall. It's not that far in, 100 meters or so. There it is. It's where it all started. So it's way up here at the top what I did. So it's this yellow line here. And all I did was this yellow line to that point where you see the B and the A. That's the emergency exit up there. And then I came back along this road. So that's all I did. And as you can see, from there to there is maybe 1/3. From there to the peak, the second third of the total distance. Because once you're at the peak here, somehow you got to get all the way back to here. So unless you exit this way and you have a way to go from there. So yeah, it's a long hike. If you try to do all of the Mini-Tahan, yeah, well, you can't do what I did. You can't do a 5 flower challenge and a 5 mushroom challenge. And I've already forgotten what the third one was. Garbage. The 5 garbage challenge, and taking a lot of video. You can't do the whole trail in one day. But if you're doing just hiking nonstop and you're not carrying a bunch of camera gear, and yeah, I mean, you could do it, but you're going to have to be in good shape. No messing around. So if it's your first time here, based on my experience of this part of Mini-Tahan, I would say the Kazumi is your best bet as a first timer. More variety, you get 2 lookout points. you go this way. Basically, you do what I did in my first video. Take the Kazumi Trail up to the Setiawangsa viewpoint. And then from there, you continue on to the KLCC viewpoint. Then the lookout, then the peak. And then from the peak, you go back to the back here. That's a really nice hike. I recommend that highly. A lot of variety. It's not easy. You got to be in good shape for that one too. But I think the full Mini-Tahan, if you do the whole thing, you have to be in better shape for that. So yeah, I would do the Kazumi first. And if you struggle with Kazumi, then you could do what I did, one part of Mini-Tahan. But I wouldn't come here to do all of it all at once. I think you'd have to build up to that point. At least I would have to. Yeah, because I'm not in great shape or anything like that. So yeah, I'm heading to the waterfall. There it is up ahead. So I'm going to clean my sandals, clean my feet, and that will be the end of today's small adventure. Oh, this is going to feel good. Let me tell you. Oh, nice and cool. The last time I did this, I took my sandals off, but it occurred to me right now, it's like, why? I mean, there's no reason to, right? I can just clean my sandals and my feet at the same time. And my legs too, I guess. A lot of mud there on the back. So, I guess that is it for the Mini-Tahan Trail, at least for today. I checked on my Relive app, and because I stopped so much to shoot video, etc., I've actually been out here for over 6 hours. 6 hours and 15 minutes. And all I walked was 4.5 kilometers. So, yeah, that's the total. 6.5 hours, 4.5 kilometers. I can't tell the elevation gain and loss yet because I have to stop the app in order to get the final elevation numbers. But anyway, that's it. Shutting down. Hope you enjoyed that. And as I said, the Relive video, maybe bonus photographs, a whole bunch of other things are going to be on the Planet Doug Patreon. So go check that out. And of course, shout out to the Crunch Club. You know who you are. And you're my favorite people, sticking with the video all the way to the end. So if you're a member of the Crunch Club, put CC in the comments to let me know. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So, yeah, that is it. Shutting down for now. And I'll see you in the next video.